Hello everyone, Zerania here, and I figured I'd toss up this quick prologue walkthrough for Wrath of the Righteous because I've been getting a lot of questions on it. So, to make it easier, I'll just make a video. It's going to be pretty unedited, and once you get the basics of it, feel free to skip out. What I did was I made a fresh level 1 Scaled Fist because Scaled Fist is the most common unfair starter, so that you can get both dodge and crane style. We have Featherfall. This is starting just after the Draskari part, so the reason why you go with Scaled Fist in most cases is, as you can see, we already have 18 AC before fighting defensively, and that's going to scale up, because in the Shield Maze, you're going to want to get to about 35 to 40 AC, which sounds pretty high, and to do that, you need to get some very specific things. And going as a Scaled Fist Monk, where you can then put a mage armor on, toss Shield of Faith, toss a bark skin, etc., so that you can get to that 35 AC on your main, because in general I play a tanky melee as my main character because they get focused a lot. So that's why that specifically. Notably, I do have mobility with 1 rank. By level 3, you need 3 ranks in it so that you get the additional +1 for fighting defensively. The rest of it is just whatever skills. So, first thing to do in Unfair is go to Options, go to Difficulty, and turn only active companions receive experience to on. When you apply that, it doesn't change the Unfair difficulty, and we will be using that to manipulate XP. The reason behind that is when we come up here and talk to Anevia, you'll see that we get 750 XP here. If you have only active experience turned, only active companions gain experience turned on, you get this full value. If you have it turned off, it splits that XP among 6 companions. It divides that XP by 6 and gives that to all companions. And since we're solo, there's no one to give that to besides us. So you are just losing out on a shit ton of XP by having that turned off. So then all of these are the same skill check as 16. Doesn't matter. The higher the DC of a skill is, the more XP you get from it. In this case, it doesn't matter. We can just pick athletics. And we get that full XP. Now, you have to have some meta knowledge, which is after you finish this conversation, Seela joins your party. She will match the XP that you have. So, she will only match that XP if you come back into difficulty and turn only active companions receive experience to off. So if we turn that off mid-conversation, this is the screen that you have to have it off by. Introduce yourself, whatever. And now you can see we have 1,038 XP and Seela has 1,038 XP instead of like 138 or whatever. So now, because the next conversation that we get is with Camilla and she doesn't care, we go ahead and turn this back on. I don't know why Camilla's different, but she is. Let's fix our formation. We want to be at the front and Seela like right there. So we come up here. I don't know why the conversation with Seela or with Camilla is different, but it is. But you don't have to do it with her bullshit here. You could also just wait to do it to this. But you'd miss out a little bit on this XP. Remember, we were at 1038. Camilla joins. We're now at 1413. And she is also at 1413. Like I said, I don't know why Camilla is different, but she is. So, now that we have gotten all our appropriate XP for those, now is how to deal with this with the least amount of pain on Unfair. We see that there's a young centipede here. If you take your character, and you'll note that Anevia always follows behind us. So if you mouse and turn backwards, Anevia will then run forward. And now all of these are going to aggro onto Anevia. For whatever reason, in turn-based mode, enemies really, really like to focus on the first character they encounter. So by having Anevia be the first character to aggro combat, she is going to be the main focus the entire way through. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. I personally turn on fighting defensively and basically never turn it off on unfair. Just because like the extra AC is fine. It's not needed in this case because they're all going to be hitting Anevia. But I'm just going to show how you can do that and never have to worry about it. Because Anevia is going to tank this whole thing for us. So then centipedes come up, and you'll notice that that centipede is attacking Anevia. So put on our bullshit here.
Don't hold back.
And even though we're fighting defensively, we're still able to get hits in. Yes, it's a little lower, but Anevia is just going to hard carry us anyway.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Spirits demand your blood. You should have run.
And really, that's all you have to know. So if you want to just yeet out at this point, you now know how to recruit companions, which is just turn on only active, and then, or turn off only active, recruit the companion, turn it back on. But if you want to sit through and see the rest of it, there are a couple more tips you can see. Or if you just want to see how to do this combat, like I said, you just turn around, have an Anevia come up, she'll tank. One other thing you can do is if you can get to an appropriate position, such as right here, you notice how I didn't provoke an AOO from this guy?
You are today's sacrifice.
And then do the same thing right here. This giant fly is going to come up and hit Anevia. So if we come to right here,
This will hurt.
now this giant fly, which is going to come up here, just provoked an AOO, and we just got some free damage in.
Go for their hearts.
It's not really needed,
The light. Take
but
you.
Don't hold back.
it gives you just that little bit extra.
I do what I must. Their life
And then here I didn't do that, so this is going to be a little bit harder of a combat. Because flat-footed, it missed, that's great.
I'll cut you wide
So it's going to be
open.
going for my main character. And so we're going to take some damage. As long as we don't die, it doesn't really matter.
Strike.
Into the fray.
But we're now no longer flat-footed. We have our fighting defensively on. And as you see, Anevia just hard carries us. And yes, it does help to have meta knowledge of where all the encounters are. I have done this a ton. As you can see by me just aggroing these ones from basically off screen. But
The inheritor, guide my blade.
so here you might be tempted to run all the way up there. Nah, what you want to do is just move up so that you're in position. So that when the enemy comes, I was too close. I wanted to make it
You
get
should
an
have run.
a free AOO, but I messed that up.
Glory without
The
risk.
spirits demand your blood.
But Anevia here just hard carries anyway, so it's not too big of a deal.
This will hurt.
The light. Take you.
So you don't have to be perfect through it. The monitor lizard is a little bit rougher,
Save the last one.
but Anevia often will just kill it in the first round anyway because it's flat-footed and she gets sneak attack. But
Don't hold back. You are today's sacrifice.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
oh, Anevia went down and we died, so that's why you quick save. And Unfair early on is kind of a reload simulator. It's not as bad as early Kingmaker, in my opinion. But it still is something to be aware of.
We should move. This will be quick.
And I, of course,
Cut
had
you wide open.
forgot to quick save after this encounter. So we get to do it again.
The light. Take you.
Don't hold back.
Okay. And this time we will actually quick save like we were supposed to.
My skills are at absolute. I am never wrong.
They will break against our resolve.
See, that's what I was saying. Is if Anevia goes first, she'll often just kill it instantly. Okay. And the reason why it's so important here is you'll see we're almost level 2. Once we do this conversation here, remember, Leon and Windwag don't get recruited until after this.
I realize that
No matter what.
So we just spam through this. And oh hey, we're level 2. I like to do all my level ups at the same time. So you just come forward. The important one is this one right here. Yeah, click on it. We get to this part. Again, you could do the option here. I'll go ahead and showcase this as well. If you go to difficulty and only skill check user receives skill check experience and turn that on, again, it doesn't change it from unfair, so this is valid. This DC 14, you can save scum. I have take 20 so that I don't have to save scum for this tutorial. So we go ahead and succeed there. Whatever. Doesn't matter. The easiest way on this one to remember
what did you do?
is once you get to this part where it requires this, you're perfectly safe to turn these back.
Anyone apart to uphold. Yes, but
And you'll see that
What is that?
they all join at level 2 as well. So now we have 2600 XP on the main and slightly less on these. So you can use the XP funneling from this Knowledge Arcana. You see that only I gain that 132 XP. So if you want to XP funnel that way, you can as well. So for this build, we'll just go ahead and showcase whatever, doesn't matter. I'll just click Sorcerer. We can go like an Arcane Gish. This is a pretty common thing. Whatever. Mage Armor is the big one here. You can wait to get it, but you have enough level 1 spells, and like the only ones you really care about, if you're like I am, is Shield and Mage Armor, and then True Strike a little bit later. But I like taking Mage Armor, even though it's a wasted slot, in quotes, so that you can get through the Shield Maze by having better XP. Up to you. You can just use the potions instead. On Sela, nice thing here is just to go, not Cavalier, sorry, Monk Sohei. Monk Sohei. By doing this, we go ahead and get her a horse. Again, doesn't matter too much here. If you're taking the way I commonly do, which is to turn her into a Hell Knight if I actually keep her, you want Persuasion 5, Knowledge Arcana 2. But if you get her a horse and then take Mounted Shield, I'll show you the bug with that. So then we want to level up the horse, Bulwark. You do want mobility on your horse, at least 3 ranks. I like taking mobility and perception on my horses. On trippers, I do take athletics over mobility. I like taking Die Hard at the level 1 feat and then dodge at level 3. You can do the reverse, doesn't matter. Some people like taking dodge first so that like the horse is slightly less likely to be hit. You have 2 options here. If you take Spirit Hunter to 3, you'll get level 2 spells, which means that you'll have Bark Skin. If you take Cavalier, she can have a horse. Either way, doesn't matter too much. We can just go Spirit Shaman. Big thing here is take Protective Luck. Lan is fine either way. Windwag makes Unfair easier. Lan is the companion I agree with more. Either way, doesn't matter. One thing you can do on him is you can either go Cleric as a Crusader, get some War Domain, he gets some spells. So like he can be your domain bitch. If you go that route, the shield maze is a little bit harder because he doesn't get a pet. If you want to make the shield maze easiest and you're keeping land, you can go into Inquisitor, Sacred Huntmaster, which we can do that here just to show. Again, skills, just take whatever your party needs. I like taking the War Domain. And then if you take a Leopard, the Leopard is the tankiest early on. Smilodon is more damage, but it's kind of been nerfed. Doggo and Boar are good trippers. Velociraptor, until they made the change where it has you don't have weapon focus and improved critical other, that pretty nerfed it. So Leopard for early on. Monitor Lizard's also fine. It's a tripper and it's decently tanky. We'll just go Leopard because why not? If we take Shield of Faith is the big one here. Then you have an option between Magic Weapon and Bless. Magic Weapon is covered by Camilla in our case though, so we'll just go ahead and do this. Windwag, if you keep her, she is really good early on. I find that she doesn't scale too well, but if you turn her into a Rowdy Rogue, she just does absurd damage early on. And we can fix some of her hit chance issues by tossing her an invisibility, a greater invisibility once we get that. So if we do all of that, now we can show the mounted shield bug once we get a two-hander. There's a two-hander right up on this next area. So since she's riding, we can now turn off fighting defensively for Sela. Now let's go ahead and mount her up. So now that we've crossed here, we know that there's a big spider fight right here. I find this one's pretty tricky to actually get your Anevia tank on.
We will win this war.
But
I'll take care of it.
you can get it sometimes like that. There we go. So, Windwag here, as long as the enemy is being flanked or is flat-footed, with Vital Strike does absurd damage. So, we can, and the big thing about Vital Strike is it's a standard action. So, we can have her move up, sit right here. I don't think we can get point blank shot. We can if we get to right there. So, we can now, well, she missed, so you don't get to see her absurd damage, but the big thing with Camilla is now that we have Protective Luck, is turn her to a Protective Luck spammer, and she will keep your party safe. Oh, I forgot to level up the Leopard. Oops.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Let's turn on point blank shot for him. Okay, so Windwag here. This one, again, she missed because unfair.
Strike.
But hopefully we'll get to show it. So they're all on Anevia like we wanted, so we can go ahead and Protective Luck her just to make sure she doesn't get dropped.
You won't survive me.
Okay, there we go. Now we make sure we level up our Leopard. Daredevil's pretty good here. That lets us get combat mobility, etc. So we can position our dude as we want. So that's what I'll do. Again, make sure we take mobility so that we can have our Leopard fight defensively. All we care about is the AC on this guy. And since we're not riding the Leopard, if it goes down, like not having Die Hard isn't as big of a problem. The big problem with having Die Hard is the first level one for your riding ones is whenever they go down, you don't have a way, like that then can cause AOs. Your rider is now on the ground and has to stand up, so it's real bad. But having your pet not take Die Hard if it's just tanking isn't as big of a problem. So we can now position everybody how we want. I am not bothering with the funneling of mobility. You could do that if you wanted to, but for this I don't think I need to show it because we've already seen it. So now we have the Earth Elementals. We do the same thing by making Anevia come up
Save the
and
last
aggro.
one for me.
And these guys, unfortunately, are immune to precision damage, so that's why we only did that.
You should have run.
The light take you!
The spirits demand your blood.
Endure this.
No match for me.
Anevia went down, so we do need to make sure that
This will hurt.
we're a little tanky. That's fine.
The
We have 3 pets, as well as a tanky main. We go ahead and toss Protective Luck on my main,
Make every strike
so that
count.
if we miss a bunch, you'll see that even though they have a plus 10, because we have 21 AC and they have to roll twice and take the worst, we're actually doing okay.
I'll rip you apart!
Don't hold back.
So if you really wanted to min-max, you could turn off fighting defensively on the other people. I haven't felt the need to do that.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
And we died. That's unfair for you. Sometimes you just roll low.
I'm always ready. This will be quick.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Oh, I don't have charge on one like I had to. And again, we just wait back here. It gets a free AOO. Now we can keep
They'll beg me to stop.
Anevia with
No glory
Protective Luck.
without risk.
Okay, it's now aggroed on the cat.
Survive me.
So we now put the kitty cat with Protective Luck. And we'll be good. And the archers will take out the thing, no problem. And you can come up here because you're riding a horse. And there we go, there's our wand.
I'm gone. We should move. Save the last one for me.
And the biggest part is making sure that
Don't hold back.
you don't get hit flat-footed.
No match for me.
Oops, I meant to have that toggled on. That would have killed the fly.
I'll cut you wide open.
Because your flat-foot AC is so much lower, typically, that, like, combat starts before you move, you get hit. You can get around that by having
This.
a surprise round by charging,
The inheritor.
is probably the easiest way of doing it.
Strike.
I'll rip you
There we go, and as you see, 22 damage from Vital Strike. Or, in this case, we get around it by having Anevia, our NPC tank for us. And if she gets hit and is flat-footed, our main isn't getting killed, so.
Make every strike count.
No glory without risk.
We do it my
And this, right up here, should be where the greatsword is.
way. There's something
Yep, it's
here.
this next
Got
combat.
another obstacle.
Into the fray. The inheritor. Guide my blade.
And as you'll see, they're going for the main, and it hit on a 2 because we're flat-footed.
Crossed the wrong mongrel.
They'll beg me to stop.
You should have run.
And now it has to be a 13, so like, Massive difference in AC.
The light take you.
Okay, so this body has the greatsword, so I can now show you the shield bug. So the horse has 19 AC. We have Sela hop
We stand.
off our horse. And note it had 19 AC because it has the mounted shield, right? So if we just hop on the horse with our two-hander, horse 19 AC. If we switch over to a sword and shield, hop on, horse now has 20 AC because the +3 from mounted shield. And then we toggle back over to our two-hander. Horse still has 20 AC. So that's what you do is you mount up, do that, and that's how you have your mounted shield bug. Note that whenever you reload a save, or you go through a load screen, anything like that, you have to hop off and redo it. It's annoying in that regard. So if we quick save, quick load, Sela's horse, who was at 20 AC, because she's still mounted, now loses the mounted shield down to 17 AC. So to keep it, you have to hop off, hop back on, and now your horse has 20 AC. Is it worth it? That's kind of up to you for how tedious you like to make things. But you'll have to like 8 to 18 damage versus 5 to 12 is fairly substantial. That's because the attack bonus difference is because this is a masterwork greatsword, so ignore that part. But we have 2d6 plus 6 because you get 1.5 times strength scaling versus 1d8, which is average 4.5 for 7, and then plus 4. So this is average 8.5 damage, while this is average of 13. So it's like 50% more damage by doing this, if you're willing to accept the tedium of doing the mounted shield swapping. So that is all the way up through into the mongrel village. I'll probably do a shield maze one at a later point, but this at least lets you see how to get through that and how to manipulate XP at the start so that you're close enough to level 3 that when you go into the shield maze and do a couple combats, you can get to level 3 rather than being level 2, which is extremely substantial, especially if you want to do things like take on the water elemental. Note that our leopard here is at 23 AC. That will go up pretty substantially when we buff it up. Horse does okay. Leopard gets even tankier. As you can see, there's horse was at 20 AC with the mounted shield, while this is 23 and it's currently fatigued. So its dex is down by 1. So 24 AC versus 20. We're starting to work on that. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. Y'all have a good one.